Good evening, my cherished settlers. Gather round and lend me your ears. As the sun rises over our cherished lands, it brings with it the promise of growth and prosperity. Together, we shall embark on an endeavor to expand our bread production, for it is the very heart of our sustenance and cornerstone of our community of Greater Namateen. With the blessings of the earth, we shall cultivate new farmlands, turning the fertile soil into a tapestry of golden grains. Each furrow we plow shall be a testament to our toil and determination as we sow the seeds of abundance that will nourish our families and fill our tables. Let us work hand in hand, for the fruits of our labor shall be bountiful, and the aroma of our freshly baked bread shall waft through the air. But, dear friends, we must not forget the very essence of our land, the soil that cradles our crops. To ensure our fields flourish, we shall embrace the art of fertilization, breathing new life into the earth beneath our feet. With careful methods and wisdom of our ancestors, we shall enrich the lands, allowing them to yield their treasures in abundance. Let us honor the soil, for it is the steadfast ally in this noble quest. And as we expand our horizons, we shall lay the foundation for our future, a grand manor house that shall stand as a beacon of our achievements and aspirations. This stronghold will be a place of gathering where we can share our stories, celebrate our victories, and forge bonds that will withstand the test of time. It shall be a symbol of our unity and resilience, a testament to the spirit of Namateen Fields. So let us roll up our sleeves and embrace this journey with excitement and joy. Together, we shall cultivate our lands, revitalize our soil, and build a manor that reflects our dreams. The future is bright, and with each loaf of bread we bake, we shall nourish not only our bodies, but also the very soul of our community. So onward, my friends, to a prosperous tomorrow. Heyo, and welcome to another episode of Build and Battle Season 3, where we will build a beautiful medieval city while battling off famine, mutiny, and the bitter cold. In the last episode, we began our sheep production by implementing a sheep farm, weaver's workshop, and a butcher's. We then moved on to expand the namesake of Namateen Fields by starting our first beer productions for exportation with the barley fields, a malt house, and a brewer's house. So if you happen to miss the last episode, then click on the info card above, or if you're looking for a new Manor Lords series to binge watch, then check out the entire Build and Battle Season 3 playlist located in the description below. In this episode, we will continue to expand our fields with a new Emmer farmhouse, windmill, and applicable production lines. We will also cash in the 2 development points we have been sitting on since the last episode, build a manor house, and increase our food supply in general. So are you enjoying Build and Battle Season 3? If so, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what you're most excited to see in the upcoming episodes. If you can't wait to see the season unfold, consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks, emojis, and early access to the videos. And don't miss out on our Build and Battle Season 3 merchandise linked in the description below. Alrighty, I'm wicked excited to start today's build, so grab your beverage of choice, kick back, and please enjoy. To start today, I actually want to boost our berry production, as that is the lifeblood of Namateen Fields. I'd like to get a second forager's hut in nearby our berry deposit and build 1 additional expanded burgage plot to employ the forager's hut. This way, we can focus berries as the main food supply of Namateen Fields and export as much bread as possible throughout the rest of our territories, especially Old Namateen. So let's start by laying out our constructions first with the forager's hut, and then adding in 1 expanded burgage plot to employ the new hut with. I'd like to set these slightly apart and at different angles so that we do not have this as a very, overly symmetrical, almost blocky looking neighborhood. Also, once everything is built in, we will upgrade that backyard in the burgage plot to supply eggs, as that is the other major food source I'm using for Namateen Fields. And I don't really plan to export eggs to Old Namateen. So, in other words, I am focusing the food sources for the fields primarily as eggs, berries, and potentially some vegetables down the line. Everything else I want to try and export to Old Namateen to help support that 1,700 person population that district is currently holding. Now that we have some additional food supply coming into Namateen Fields, it's time to focus on this district's larger purpose, feeding Old Namateen. If you recall from our earlier episodes, we plan to utilize sheep breeding and fertilization in this district to keep our soil fertility high and thus our crop outcome high as well. Now that we have those 2 additional development points from our constructions last episode, let's come on in and purchase our additional development points so that the sheep can begin breeding and we can start fencing in all of our pastures. I also sort of wonder if we will need to keep another sheep farm because of how many pastures we have and how big they are. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. Should we construct a second sheep farm so we have more shepherds in Heyo Fields? Next, I would like to construct our manor house. We need to ensure that every district is generating treasury income for the king's tax, as we have the tax set to 3 gold per family. This means every district has to be contributing and every district has to have at least level 2 burgage plots or higher to match or exceed the king's tax. Now, I'll admit, I've been dragging my feet with this in Heyo Fields, so once we have this constructed, we will immediately set that king's tax up to 5 to 10%, depending on what our numbers look like. So let's enjoy the time lapse and then we will meet back up to determine an appropriate percentage for the tax. Alrighty, now that the manor house is built, let's discuss how I typically set the king's tax, which it's honestly not rocket science, just a healthy amount of addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. So let's start with our actual king's tax of $16,200 annually, and let's take this figure and divide it by 12 as we collect taxes from our territories once per month or 12 times in the year. This means that we need to collect 1,350 gold per month to be able to afford the king's annual tax. Now, I am going to go into our notice board here and take 1,350 and subtract each tax we are currently collecting from Old, Central, and East Heyo respectively. This final difference is what we will need to collect per month in Heyo Fields. From here, we just take our regional wealth and multiply it by the percentage we want to tax until we find that figure that hits the sweet spot, which I think it's going to be about 10%, as I know we will be constructing additional burgage plots in Heyo Fields, thus increasing the population's king's tax, so I wish to come in just a little bit higher to accommodate that predicted increase. Now that we have our percentage, let's come on into the manor house and set the tax. From here, we will just monitor. We will continue to fiddle with the king's tax as we go throughout today's episode, building Heyo Fields off camera to ensure that we are adjusting to our increased populations. Alrighty, next I'd like to do some deep building and construct another Emmer farm complete with a farmhouse, windmill, some housing, and more. Now I would like to build it down here as we have great Emmer fertility and plenty of space to stretch about 8 fields out so we can have 1 family per field. I'd also like to construct a windmill and the housing around the windmill with ample backyard space for some vegetable patches. Finally, I'll also construct another large granary specific to the bread production line, a communal oven, and a pack station to help with the exportation of the bread to Old Heyo. So today, instead of starting with our farmhouse, I'm actually going to start with our windmill, as I'd like to use the windmill as the central anchor point for our modular build. So let's construct this in and draw the road around it. We will also then immediately draw in some housing, as I find it easier now to sprinkle the housing in as we go instead of building big blocks of it. I think it creates a more organic design and neighborhood as well. So once this is all in, we will upgrade the backyards to have vegetables, and I want to ensure we have at least 4 families available to employ the windmill and eventually the communal oven. Next, I'd like to wiggle in the farmhouse and a communal oven into one of these, I guess, corners for a lack of better way to describe it. I want these two assets to almost appear fused together. And once we have these laid out, let's go through and add at least 4 fields to get us started. We will add another 4 in a future episode. Finally, let's fuse in some of our logistic buildings together, namely the granary and the pack station. Now, I already know I want to upgrade the granary as there is a really good chance we will exceed the capacity of a small one between the emmer, flour, and the bread. So once we have this constructed, we will prioritize our resources to the bread production line, and I will also turn off the market stall option as I want this granary to be storage only. Alrighty everyone, I think that just about wraps up today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below letting me know your thoughts on today's build. If you're excited to see the next episode unfold, consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks, emojis, and early access to the videos. And don't forget to check out our Build and Battle Season 3 merchandise linked in the description below. Until next time, I hope everyone has a phenomenal week.